Resident Evil 4 might have only just released, but we've already got our eyes on what might be coming next. And if any of these rumours are to be believed, what's coming next might be coming sooner than we first thought. We've just been given a fantastic Mercenaries mode, and while we can still only dream about getting more maps and characters for that mode, there's also the big question of what's happening with the original game's DLC, Separate Ways. Now, if you don't know what Separate Ways is, it's actually a separate piece of expanded DLC that came bundled with nearly every single copy of Resident Evil 4 post the GameCube version. It's an expansion on the main game that answers the main question of what was Ada doing while you were completing Resident Evil 4. And it turns out that she was, for the most part, just kind of helping you get through the main game. You'll see how she was the person who rang the church bell in the village scene, and you'll also see how she saved your life in that Jack Krauser fight. It was a short but sweet expansion to the main game that was unlocked after you completed the story for the first time, and it featured 5 relatively mini chapters for you to complete. Short is of course the key word here. The Separate Ways DLC wasn't very long at all, and it's likely that when it comes back in the remake it will probably be a similar length. But the good news is that work seems to have already been started on the Separate Ways DLC, and unlike the Resident Evil 8 DLC, which seemed to take forever to actually release, this one might be coming sooner than we first thought. In fact, it might be coming out so soon that one PC user updated his game to find that Separate Ways had already got a slot on the menu screen. Now, unfortunately, when he clicked on the Separate Ways thing, it did put him in an endless loading screen, but it does mean that Separate Ways is pretty much confirmed to be coming to the game now. Multiple files for the DLC have also been discovered in the game's files from when Resident Evil 4 launched. It seems like Capcom is preparing to release Separate Ways potentially this year. We've already got a good idea of what the post-launch plans are for Resident Evil 4, and Mercenaries was the first wave of that, and PSVR 2 support is also supposedly coming further down the road. So it seems like it's only a matter of time before Capcom officially announced that Separate Ways is coming. But the big question is will it be free? Of course, the original Separate Ways was free and packed in with nearly every version of Resident Evil 4 since it released, but this is a completely different kettle of fish. According to multiple rumours, the Resident Evil 4 remake version of Separate Ways is actually a lot more expansive than the original one, and it seems like Capcom are gearing up to make this a separate paid DLC experience, similar to the Resident Evil 8 DLC that we just saw. However, according to most rumours as well, it's still not going to be anywhere near as long as that Resident Evil 8 DLC, but it could still be a sizable chunk bigger than the original Separate Ways was. If I was to make an educated guess of when we might see Separate Ways, I think that it'll get announced at Capcom's Town Showcase in June, which scarily is only a handful of weeks away now. And with the recent discovery of both Ada Wong and Albert Wesker files for Mercenaries, I think it's probably likely that both Mercenaries content and Separate Ways will drop at the same time, allowing for a much bigger expansion than was initially thought. Either way, if this is anywhere near the level of quality that the actual Resident Evil 4 remake was, you can expect me to be there the second that it drops. Whether it's 3.5 hours long or even just 40 minutes long, I'll be there, I promise. So, are you excited for Resident Evil 4 Remake's Separate Ways DLC, or would you rather they just move on and stop making more content for Resident Evil 4? Let us know what you think in the comments, and make sure you're sticking right here for more content on GG Recon.